Overwhelmed? That was me with diabetes. Hey, I'm Jabron. Between teaching and coaching, managing diabetes felt like an extra job. With the Freestyle Libre 3 CGM, I get real-time glucose readings and have the insights to make informed decisions. My life feels lighter now. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
The views expressed should not be used for medical diagnosis or treatment as a substitute for professional medical advice. Individual circumstances may vary. For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
What is that?
Oh, yeah, it's a World Cup holder.
Like the soccer tournament World Cup?
Holder. For the world. Fits every car, holds every cup.
It has a Carvana logo?
Carvana made it. They buy and sell cars, so they made a car cup holder. So, got any good cups lately?
I used to. I just couldn't figure out where in the world to put them.
The World Cup holder. Brought to you by Carvana. Proud sponsors of the World Cup holder.
Sign up today to win yours at cup-holder2026.com. Not authorized or endorsed by FIFA. Not a real product. For parity and fair use purposes only.
DJ PK, and we're joined by Ben Anderson, Jazz Insider for KSL Sports and co-host of Jake and Ben. Ben, good morning.
Good morning.
So, Ben, 5 years, $140 million, $28 million per year for Walker Kessler. We were talking earlier this morning about this. Tim McMahon had it. You confirmed that. Those numbers are the real deal. It makes sense to me because I thought when we talked about this earlier, like at $20 million, you're going to get outbid. At $25 million, seems bottom of the market. You're probably going to have to pay him 30, so they settled on 28. I don't have to do it. I can just go in $5 million increments. So 28 makes sense, but it does make sense that somebody out there might try to get him for over $30 million. Would the Jazz match anything up to 35? Where do you think, assuming he gets another offer that's better, how far would they go and match him? What's that number look like?
Yeah, I think that's the big question is, where are the Jazz outside of their comfort range? And I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if Walker wants fewer years so he can get his next contract sooner, where he can get ideally another raise and start making money on top of what he's already making. So, is it 35? Is the team going to offer 35? I kind of, for no reason, just how NBA teams operate, kind of keep coming back to, is there a 3-year, $100 million deal out there for him? Where a team says, yeah, we're going to give you more on average per season. It's $5 million more a year. It's a lot. But it's also shorter. So if something does go wrong, they can get out of it quicker. Mm-hmm. I could see that. And I think, I think the Jazz trying to put 5 years on there is a sign that they really believe in Walker and want Walker to know that they believe in him. But also they want to have him locked up for a long time at a relatively low number. 5 years from now, $28 million is not going to look like that much on the NBA landscape.
You kind of have the same thing, at least in theory, with Walker Kessler. He wanted to be extended last summer, and Darren Peterson doesn't want to work out or whatever for the Jazz. Well, my thought is to both of them, tough, suck it up. You'll come here because we have the rights, and if you want to play here, this is the way. If you want to play in the NBA, you got to play here. Plus, when they get out here, and Walker's already been here, obviously, and the games get going and you get with the guys, they'll find out. And this is a great place to be. So I don't really worry about this. What's your response?
Yeah, and, from everything I understand is Walker really likes Utah. Walker wants to be here. He wants to be in Utah. His camp also wants more money. I mean, it's kind of simple.
So do I, Ben.
Yeah, so does everybody, right? I mean, that's not actually that foreign, which in a way I also identify with Walker's camp, and I tweeted this out yesterday. Players get to negotiate maybe 2 good contracts in their life. So I actually don't blame anyone for trying to get as much money as possible, but there are kind of naturally competing issues here. The Jazz are trying to build a basketball team, and Walker's trying to build his individual wealth, and those actually don't jive that well together. And Walker's team actually doesn't have very much leverage, and that's the problem, and that's the hard part. Now, they can go out and get more money somewhere else, maybe, but is another team going to lock up $35 million on the free agent market for 48 hours while the Jazz just sit back and say, we're going to match this, but we're going to wait till the last second, so it actually hurts you to offer him a sheet?
Right.
That can certainly happen. And then as far as the Darren Peterson stuff goes, I mean, I will just tell you everything I've heard. None of it has to do with trying to avoid Utah. He just thinks he's going number 1 overall. There is still some positioning obviously being done there by his camp to try and show Washington that he wants to go number 1 overall, and he's fully invested in that. But if the Jazz draft him, I have not heard anything that makes anyone think that he wouldn't be happy being here. I know the report out of Dallas was he was trying to avoid the Jazz. He didn't work out for Memphis either. And the Jazz have been at his, meetings. The Jazz met with him at the Combine. communication is ongoing. So I think people took that story and thought that meant he was trying to avoid the Jazz, and I really don't think that's the story at all.
And then if Kessler wants more money, just do another credit union ad. You'll be good to go.
Yeah, he'll keep making more money. He's fine. He's got options. He's marketable.
With Peterson and the whole Washington only, that's the only workout deal, I'm trying to figure if Washington has shown their cards and he knows, or at least heavily suspects that he's number one, or if this is a power move by the Peterson camp. Hey, we're going to be number one. You should pick us. We're only going to talk to you because obviously you're going to come to your senses and figure out I'm the number one pick. Which one of those two things is it, or is there a third scenario out there?
The people I've talked to really seem to think he's going to be the number one pick.
Yeah.
But you know, and look, if you want to look at the actions, like that would kind of match with AJ DeBonsa also coming and working out with the Jazz. Mm-hmm. You know, if AJ wasn't actually fully sure that he was going to be number one and Darren was, those actions certainly speak for themselves. Now, I know the betting odds don't say that, and I know kind of the consensus mock drafts don't say that Darren Peterson's going to be number one, but everything I've heard from well before the Jazz won their lottery to where we are today, I heard this as recently as, Monday. I heard this Monday, but like the world has just been way too confident that AJ is going to be the number one overall pick. I don't actually think that's how NBA front offices have operated, despite the fact that that's kind of what the groupthink has been amongst people who do mock drafts and kind of cover the draft from a media perspective. So I do think that, you know, as far as my intel goes, that's the most solid I've heard of who actually could be the number one overall pick. But again, that could easily be Darren Peterson's camp positioning and trying to say, hey, we're not going to come to Utah for sure because we think we're going to be the number one pick, when really they know they're not going to fall past 2 or 3 at the absolute latest. So what do they have to lose? I mean, it's not going to hurt them by not working out with the Jazz. If the Jazz want them, the Jazz will draft them. And this is the very last piece in a 4 or a 5-year puzzle where they've been watching these guys since they were teenagers. They know everything about them. If they don't come in for a workout, it's pretty small potatoes.
Locke had been down on DeBonsa for a good while, his lack of three-point shooting. Now he put out a little video on his Locked On Spiel. Seems to change that. Tune has been altered a little bit, being a 20-point-a-game guy, willing passer, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I've seen him up close. We've all seen him on television. I got to cover several of their games. I like the guy, and I get that, you know, he's not the best three-point shooter. We understand that. What level of confidence do you have if the Jazz pick him, which seems like that's what's going to happen, that, to me anyway, that he will be not just good, but in time a star?
Yeah, I think he's going to be a star. I have very little doubt about that, three-point shot or not. But even then, you know, if you want to go back and, you know, look at his whole season, certainly it's fair to look at a whole season. I mean, an NBA season or a college season is 35 games. I mean, we're talking about an NBA player having a slow start if they're shooting 33%. I mean, that's, you know, October 28th or whenever the season starts to December 15th. Nobody chalks up somebody's entire career based on those numbers. And if you want to go in, you know, look at one of AJ's interviews. I think it was with Scotty Barnes Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. And he said, look, I realized I could score 30 a game if I wanted to. And I think if you look at the point where he's kind of talking about in his season where he could have averaged 30 or more, what does he put up 43 on Utah or whatever it is? Look at his numbers from that game to the rest of the regular season. It's like a 16 or 17 game sample. I think it's more than half the year. Look at his three-point shooting. It's like 36%. Like, it even got better within the season. And then it fell off of the tournament a little bit. And they didn't play many games, but you're talking about 4 games over that stretch. So, like, he has shown an ability to, A, not just score at an extremely high level, because I think he was up near 30 points a game during that stretch, but he was up over 36% from 3. My fear on guys in college about not being able to shoot the 3, you look at their box scores, and if they have like 2 attempts a game, you know, 0 attempts a game. AJ's at like 6-7 attempts a game pretty regularly. He has games where he's made 5 in a game. Like, I just kind of think that's something that's somebody who has confidence in their three-point shot. And generally, I believe those guys are going to get better. So even if it doesn't come along, I still think he's a star. If it does, I mean, you are talking about the best player from this draft.
Ben Anderson, join us. You will hear him today at 2 o'clock. He and Jake will be on the air here, talking a lot of hoops with the draft bearing down on us. You go back and redraft drafts, and the top 4 are never the right 4. There's always somebody who was picked 8th or 18th or 28th who should have been in there, and someone in the top 4 who shouldn't have been drafted at all or shouldn't have gone in the top 20. So this 4, there's a real consensus of the 4. Who do you think when we're 5-10 years out we're going to go back and scratch our head and think, why in the world was that guy in the top 4? That shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the obvious answer would be Caleb Wilson, just because he is the rawest of the group. And you know what, DJ? I really wonder if we're getting better at drafting. Clearly you go back and there's still, when you take 4 guys versus the field, which is the next, 56 guys, obviously one of the 56 is going to jump up. But, I don't know, if we're 3 or 4 years from now, we look back and look at this past top 5 with Cooper Flagg and Dylan Harper and VJ Edgecombe and Con Knipple and Ace Bailey and say, no, it looks like the good top 5. There's a possibility that's absolutely the case. Maybe we are getting a little bit better at this, or maybe we're not, and that was just a fluke season. So I would probably say Caleb Wilson, just because the skill set is yet to develop fully. And even then, he put up almost 20 and 10 at North Carolina, and they were really good when he was on the floor and not very good when he was not. So I think he's going to be a good player as well. The difference is going to be, who of the guys behind them jumps up? Is it Darius Acuff? Is it Keaton Wagler? Is it somebody 10, 11, 12, 13? I like Vass or Johnson kid from Michigan quite a bit. I think he's a really good player. Someone's going to jump up inevitably, but I understand why these 4 are the best players.
It's an interesting time for the Jazz with this pick that is so fundamental to their success and crucial. But yet at the same time, they just can't be focused on the draft, because then they got to turn around and a week later really starts going with the free agency. Depending, I guess, to what they do with Kessler, what do you see their level of activity being in that particular way to build your team?
Yeah, what I've heard is, if Darren Peterson's the guy at 2, the Jazz probably still need another ball handler in the backcourt to come in and help, and that's not to replace Keontae. That's just to come in and help, off the bench or help with Isaiah Collier. And if it's, A.J. DiBonsa or Cam Boozer, they might feel like they need 2 guys. They might go out and try and get 2 guards who are, ball handlers who can come in and support and help, because they do need that. They do need more ball handling. Now, AJ's a really good ball handler. I actually wonder if there's more playmaking to his game than he was even able to show at BYU, when he averaged way more assists per game than Darren Peterson did. But if Darren Peterson comes in, is his playmaking actually a lot better than people thought? Keontae George came in and was a much better passer from day one. Ace Bailey came in and was a much better passer from day one. I wonder if that's a stat that kind of gets lost or gets blurred in college, that gets much better kind of naturally once you get to the NBA. But, yeah, the Jazz need another ball handler or 2, and they certainly need a lot more defense on the perimeter. So I think you look down some of the names, the Marcus Smarts, the Anthony Meltons that have been out there. I think those make some sense. Gary Payton II. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Jazz, flirt with somebody like that.
How much money do you think they're going to have to go get those guys? Because the teams that have gone and taken a young team and jumped up to the championship level, and you go back 10 or 20 years, the Warriors won 4 titles. They did it. The Lakers, who won the three-peat, they brought in a couple of veterans, and usually they bring in one person who's really good and somebody else who's solid, who's really solid. But can the Jazz afford to do 2, or you think they're only adding 1?
They've got the mid-level exception, which is, I think it's like $20 million this year. It's like $19 million. It's pretty hefty. So you could go out and maybe sign a guy for 2 years and 20, 2 years 25, and then get another guy on a vet minimum contract essentially, and see if that's enough for you. So I could see them going out and trying to get 2 players, or you give one guy $20 million for 1 year, or 2 years, $40 million, and really try and make a splash. That seems a little rich for me for a gamble on a team that I'm not, I know the Jazz think they're going to be good next year. I don't know if they know how good they're going to be. So I wonder if they would invest that much or sacrifice that much flexibility for a season or 2. But maybe you do 1 year. Maybe you just say, hey, we're going to give you a lot for 1 year. We think we can make a real push, and then we'll reexamine where we are a year from now. I could see that as well, but I definitely think they will be aggressive. I think they will try and fill out this roster more completely for sure.
They've invested a lot of time in these young guys the last couple of years as they've been losing. And right now it seems that we're overlooking a lot of them, or if not all of them. Your guess, your projection in terms of who would be a rotational guy out of these young dudes the last couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough. And unfortunately for them, like, if nobody makes the Keontae George jump, and I'm not saying Keontae George, who suddenly became, a 9-figure player in the NBA, I don't think anyone's expecting that from Bryce Sensabaugh or Cody Williams or Kyle Filipowski even. But if one of them can jump up, that would be a huge positive for the Jazz. Now, I don't know how you pay that person next year, but if one of those guys was to jump up, that could become very beneficial for the Jazz and could actually solve a lot of their issues. As nice as Darren Peterson is and the skill set he brings, and he's a better player than Bryce Sensabaugh. But if Bryce becomes a knockdown three-point shooter and consistent and can give you a little bit in the area of team defense being in the right spot, he can be really helpful. If I had to bet on who it's going to be, I do think Kyle Filipowski just makes a lot of sense. He's further along than those guys since the day he came into the NBA. He's going into his third year. I bet physically he's kind of really starting to catch up finally. I think he understands exactly what his role is going to be. 15 to 20 minutes off the bench is going to be beneficial. Conceivably, assuming Walker Kessler comes back, he can always be on the floor with either Walker or Jaren Jackson Jr., which covers up some of his defensive issues, and then he can be really a kind of a playmaker out of the post with them, and I think that becomes extremely valuable. So I would bet on Flip making a jump. Cody Williams I might be the most skeptical on just because I'm not sure what his actual skill is. But that doesn't mean I'm not a Cody Williams believer, and the truth is, if his defense comes along, he might be the most valuable of those three. We just have maybe seen the least from him so far.
I'm curious about the mental makeup of all these young guys because we can say they're going to play 15 minutes a night, but that's not accurate. You got to dig deeper. There are going to be nights where everybody's available where they're going to get DNP CDs. There are going to be nights where they're in the rotation getting the 15 minutes, and there are going to be nights where multiple guys are out and they're going to have to play 25, and it can be hard to go out there and play 25 minutes because you don't have the conditioning, because you did just take a DNP, and because mentally you're getting a little beat up because your role changes so much. Who can handle that? Because in an era when guys play 65 games and consider it a full season, that just seems inevitable. If you're guy 10, 11, 12 on the roster, that's going to be your life.
Well, yeah, we're talking about the young guys right now, and we're kind of ignoring John Konchar. We're ignoring Svi Mikhailiuk, who are NBA veterans. I think Svi has a title. John Konchar is the type of player who, if you were to pluck somebody off the Jazz's bench that you said could have played in these finals, it's probably Konchar. He's running all over the floor, and I know he didn't shoot the ball particularly well with the Jazz, but he has historically. If he makes shots and is running all over the floor, he's the Jazz's best version of Josh Hart, who was so critical for the Knicks. So, if those guys are in the rotation, you're talking about, Bryce and Cody Williams being maybe guy 10 and 11 on this roster, and 10 and 11 might play 10 minutes a game if they play at all. Now, NBA rotations sometimes are 10. That's generally what Will Hardy has done. So maybe one of those guys gets a spot if you're assuming that whoever the Jazz draft at number 2 plays and that Walker Kessler comes back. I do think Kyle Filipowski is going to be in the rotation because they need him, but if Nurk is back, and I think the Jazz would probably enjoy Nurk if he could come back, it's a lot of bodies competing for very few minutes. And I don't honestly envy Will Hardy. Will Hardy's going to have to tell either the number 2 overall pick or Ace Bailey, most likely, that you're coming off the bench. That's probably not an easy conversation for 2 guys who are top 5 selections.
DJ, start spreading the news. I don't think Ben's leaving today, but when are you leaving, Ben?
I am leaving Saturday morning, and I'll be in New York, obviously, for the draft. So Monday, they're doing all the player interviews. So I will be downtown, and I'll get all those and send them back. We'll have them posted at KSLSports.com, on our Instagram page, social media, YouTube, etc. And then Tuesday, I'll be at the draft as well.
Do you have Ben's final mock draft 0.0? I don't know how many mocks you'd be into it. You ready to call the top 2 picks?
Well, I'll say the top 2 picks I think will be AJ and Darren. I don't know what order.
Okay.
That's bold, Ben. That's bold right there.
I know, really gutsy. But you know what? I will tell you, I bet you that's how the Jazz feel as well.
Are you going first class? Because you're a first class guy.
I think I'm flying standby. I don't know how I'm getting there.
Standby.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Open air?
Yeah, whatever.
Catch the train to Denver and try to pick up a flight from there.
No.
Yeah,
avoid Denver at all costs.
Ben, we appreciate a few minutes. We will hear you today at 2 o'clock. You and Jake will take over and take everybody home.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you, Ben. Ben Anderson, Jazz Insider for KSL Sports, and host of Jake and Ben. DJ and PK, we'll take a break, come back, catch you up to date on everything you missed in this show. A lot of football, a lot of hoops, and a lot of golf. Stay with us.
Welcome to This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
President of basketball operations for the Utah Jazz. It is Austin Ainge. How often are those top names switching around at the top of a draft board? Does that happen this late in the process?
It does happen. We're trying to force ourselves to keep an open mind. Like, don't get locked in until we have all the information. Make sure we're processing everything correctly. We're almost fighting a consensus or predetermination. We're trying to make sure we go through it as thoroughly as possible before we lock in. We are fighting groupthink. We're fighting media narratives. We don't have a consensus in our rooms, right? Like, there's arguments. My dad and I fight every day about stuff, about players. Coach Hardy and I spend a lot of time talking through it and picturing how it would work with this guy and that guy. And there's a lot of opinions and I work with a lot of smart people.
Catch Jake and Ben afternoons from 2 to 6 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Slacker Ready Headlines brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Call them at 1-855-TRAJAN1 or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. The Utah Jazz, front and center now, PK. We just had Ben on talking about him. We played a clip from David Locke earlier this morning, who is no longer, I wouldn't say he completely did the 180. That was more a 90-degree move, but he's no longer accentuating.
Minimum 120.
Okay, 120. He's no longer accentuating the negative. Hey, that 33% shooting rate from three-point line isn't good enough, which remains true. However, he is now examining all the positives. Hey, willing passer, able score, even when the defense is lined up to stop him, he can take them apart. He can get to the paint even when everybody is firmly focused on keeping him out of the paint. He still finds his way in there.
Right.
And there'll be more spacing in the pro game. Presumably, he'll be even better at that portion of the game.
And the earrings aren't gaudy. More reasonable, understated, not drawing attention to himself.
You don't mind the diamond studs. It's the dangly things that really...
there's something going on there. You want attention. Mm-hmm. Let your game draw the attention.
Let your game sparkle.
Anybody can look like a fool, but let your game do the talking. And that's what I want to see. And that's what I think he's capable of doing. And we'll see that. And I'll be super excited to get him. And I don't think he can discount to an extent that he wants to be here. Now, that doesn't mean that he's not going to take off a free agency because they may not have the money and they may not want him. And who knows? There's a million things between now and then. I'm not so much worried about that because it's a long ways away. And secondly, I'll be dead. So you combine those two factors and it doesn't really matter.
You need to stop that.
I know. I wish they would, but that's what they tell me. So I'm on borrowed time.
Listen to Ben Anderson wherever you get your podcast. Y'all will have it up here in a little while,
at 2 o'clock.
right after the show. And he will be back at 2 o'clock with Jake.
Yeah.
But our conversation with him will be up before that.
I mean, I hand these other shows great ratings. They better do something with them.
Speaking of great ratings, the Knicks. How many people live in the tri-state area?
1 billion.
Well, they had 20 million people watching the NBA Finals. That's the best since the Jazz and Jordan in 1998. And they had 33 million for Game 5, the clincher, as the Knicks won the title for the first time in 53
Which is
years.
a zero surprise.
Right. Nor do they necessarily get to cash in on it right away because they just signed a TV deal, and they're signed for 11 years. So,
but we know there's certain teams, certain players, certain markets
that are going to draw more eyeballs.
I mean, it's a fact.
Right. Bigger markets have more people, and right there.
And it's New York. It's so fabulous they named it twice.
And there might be some jealousy towards some of the big markets, so there might be people hate watching. I'm going to watch this and root against them. And that's a factor, too.
I've never watched a game with the sole intent of rooting against. You bring that up.
Yes.
And I just don't know that that's real.
Oh, it is. It's 100% real.
No,
and
it's
I
not.
get why you don't do it because the Knicks are probably the team that you have the most sentimentality towards, but you just don't have that
There's no question
my
of that.
team sentimentality, which makes it hard for you to generate the opposite, which is I hate this team, I don't want them to win. But the NFL figured out, and I read a story about it, I think it was in the early 80s, they had somebody at, I think it was at CBS, maybe it was NBC, but no, it was CBS because it was the NFC, figure out, hey, wait, have you noticed that if Green Bay isn't on, the team that gets the most ratings there is Chicago and then Detroit and Minnesota. And they start putting the other teams in division in there, and people are like, I want that team to lose.
Because
And
it's
maybe
a divisional game.
And maybe some of that's emotion and some of that
they've
is
got good players.
pragmatic. Well, they don't all have good players.
No
The
one's
whole
watching
division isn't up at the same
Lions.
time.
No one's watching the Lions. Boy, I hope they
they were.
lose. I never watch Arizona with the sole intent, I hope they lose. I'm going to watch it. Well, for now, it's work. And so if they're playing another conference team and I don't have anything to do and I'm not at the stadium yet or what have you, I'm going to watch it. But it's not, I'm going to turn on that so that team loses.
I think that happens all the time. I think people watch the Cowboys in New York, Philly, and Washington, hope they lose.
Because it's a divisional game.
And laugh
Of
like
course it
maniacs
is.
when they do. But even when Dallas is out of the division race last year, people are watching them, hoping they lose. And you're right.
But you
if it's a
don't
division
turn on
game.
the TV. That's the number one reason I'm going to. I want them to lose. Sure, if the Cats are playing the Cougars, I want the Cats to lose. But I'm not going to turn on the game. So I want them to win. You're making it even. I watch the Jazz because I want them to win. And I'm going to turn on the Lakers so they lose. That's not the difference. The differential is substantial.
The difference isn't there because that difference is substantial. The difference is, did people hate watch the Knicks this year more than they hate watch the Thunder or the Pacers last year? Yes.
No. Nobody hates the Knicks. What have they done until now?
Played in New York. That's all it takes.
No. Everybody recognizes that New York is the center of the country. and it's
that thought right there leads to some of the hate
every
watching.
American and people who want to be Americans, they want to see New York.
It doesn't have anything to do with Brunson and Bridges or Karl Anthony Towns or Mike Brown. It's that whole, all those New Yorkers. They think they're the center of the universe. I hope they lose.
Well, no. But okay, fine. But you don't turn it on so I can watch them lose. That may be reason number 3 or 4, but it is not. I'm saying it's not reason number 1. I disagree with that completely. I think that's your fan. You grew up with a Chargers lunchbox, so that's your fandom. I think most people grow out of that. And the 55-year-old guy, oh, man, I want to watch the Knicks lose tonight. What channel are they on? I don't see that.
I think some people do grow out of it, and I've largely grown out of it, but that doesn't mean there aren't people right behind us replacing us with that sentiment.
Not in today's world. Today's world, there's a million different things coming at them. It's still the 55-year-old dude. That it'll be interesting to see what sports ratings are in 50 years because
everything will be behind a paywall.
I just don't see, and then people will buy it.
Yeah,
but I don't think this generation of fandom is nearly as into it as you were.
Interesting. You think fandom's much more mellower now?
It's more fun. It's for fun.
Mm-hmm.
You students go to the games to have fun.
Yeah, we still got people.
Buddies.
We got people screaming stuff. We got people on social media.
You'll always have that, but
texting and stuff. Well, those people aren't having fun,
right? But
and those people will hate watch.
50 years ago or 25 years ago, it would have been more. Thankfully, we didn't have that. Whatever I say, you'll always find outliers. So you don't have to say it because it is understood. It'll always be there. If I say, no, blah, 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 somebody will say, well, yeah, but that guy over there, that'll always happen.
What about yabba, yabba, yabba?
Thank you for illustrating it in a better manner than I did. Blah, 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 blah.
Honk. Come on, y'all. Give us a honk, man. There we go. Celebs and stars.
Where's Benny Hill? Is he coming in here?
All right. Celebrities and stars sell. Some people aren't into the teams. They're into the personalities. And a couple of big personalities had big, big days. Messi, who you thought had done everything that could be done. Well, he didn't have a hat trick in the World Cup. Now he's got one as Argentina wins their opener. He gets the hat trick, scores all 3 goals in the game. And Shohei Ohtani scores the only run in the Dodger game. They beat Tampa in a matchup of 2 of the top 5 teams in baseball. Dodgers win 1-0 on his 427-foot home run to center field in the 6th inning. There were only 9 hits in the game, 1 walk, 1 error. It was basically 3 up, 3 down. And then Ohtani went deep. Not some pop-up down the line that barely crawled over the wall. Bang! 400-plus to center field.
He's a threat, man. He is a threat anytime. He is a must-see TV. And
he pitches tonight. He won't hit tonight, but he will pitch.
He's must-see TV.
Or is it today? It's a getaway day. It's a getaway day.
It's a day game, yeah. There's a ton of day games today. I already looked.
Wednesdays and Thursdays, you have a lot of that. And the series wrap up and people hit the road.
Check my television viewing. I got the baseball ticket this year. I told my wife, call them up, see what you can get. She got it for free.
White Sox and Yankees, 2 division leaders in the AL, are on Prime tonight at 5 o'clock. So
Prime what?
Amazon Prime Video.
Oh.
They have a game. Rays and Dodgers are 110 on MLB.TV.
110? That means they're starting at 12:10?
Yeah. That's what that means.
When I worked at Daily Breeze, we had, in the summers, I work a lot of desk.
Mm-hmm.
And we had about 3 or 4 of us that would just go to matinees, whether it be Anaheim or Dodgers.
Go catch the day game.
Because we had tickets to both.
Your spouse is working. What are you going to do? Sit at home by yourself? So you go with people from work?
Yeah, she was off in the summers. But,
No, yeah, in the summer.
but it was understood. And we had a little tradition going because the company had tickets.
Oh, nice.
In the sports department.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had access to them. Like I told you, Martin Luther King Day, every year I went to the Laker game because they played a matinee, and my wife was off, obviously being a public school teacher.
Right.
So she and I would go, but we'd go to most, if not all, the midweek day games, particularly at Dodger Stadium, which was closer, obviously. And I remember it was always fun to go and just hang out at the ballpark during the day. Sometimes, unless I was covering the game, which they have so many games that we had 2 or 3 guys who were vacation relief or just time off relief, and I was one of them.
Former Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby has a grade from the NFL, day 3. That surprises me. I know some people thought he'd be round 1 if he'd gone this year when there weren't a lot of quarterbacks. Now, this supplemental draft, if you use the pick, it comes out of next year, the 2027 draft. There are supposed to be a lot of quarterbacks in that draft. But nonetheless, if you could get Sorsby, I thought he was a 2nd or 3rd round pick. Don't spend your first rounder. You probably don't have to. There'll be a lot of quarterbacks in the first round. And he would have been the 2nd best quarterback in this draft. But that doesn't mean he would have been the 2nd best quarterback next year. And you're really high on Dante Moore in Oregon. A lot of people are. Obviously, Sarkisian has Arch Manning down there at Texas, so he's probably going to go 1 or 2. And there's a handful of other guys. I mean, this quarterback class is probably 5 or 6 deep. We'll see how it plays out and how the year goes for these guys.
Yeah, the supplemental is weird because you don't know what the season is.
Mm-hmm.
So do you gamble? Suppose you have a better season, and then that pick wouldn't be available. So it would be later, or you take a kid, but then you have a crappy season, and then you could have the number 2 pick, but you don't have it because you use it.
And I'll be surprised if he goes in the first round of the supplemental draft. Right. No, but it's reasonable because he would have gone in the first round in 2026. But in supplemental draft, it seems like if you like him, but you really don't want to be committed, throw the 4th rounder out there and see if you get him, especially if it's early 4th. But for someone who's really committed, they got to figure out, do we want to go 3rd? And if you're a really good team, maybe you got to use your 2nd. Because to your point, the Steelers need a quarterback. The Jets need a quarterback. Well, the Jets probably going to have an early pick, but the Steelers, who never had a losing record under Tomlin, never draft in the first half of the draft unless they trade up. Their 3rd-round pick might not be good enough because there's a bunch of bad teams that need quarterbacks who, if they put in a 3rd-round pick, it comes earlier, and the Steelers can't win with their 3rd-round pick because they're going to lose all the tiebreakers. They're too good. So the Steelers might have to commit to something a little bigger, which means they lay off.
Can you negotiate in terms of trades? Can you trade up?
I suspect you can, but I don't really know the rules. The supplemental draft hasn't even been used a lot lately. It used to be more common, but guys are so savvy now about getting in or getting out of the draft.
Yeah.
You know, back in the 80s and 90s, it seemed like it happened every 2, 3, 4 years. Now it seems like it happens once a decade or twice a decade, tops. So I'm not really aware of what the rule would be there. My guess is you can, unless they made a specific rule that you can't.
2 BYU players have gone in the supplemental draft. Name them.
I know one. Who's the other? One is Steve Young.
One is Steve Young. Now, this is courtesy of the BYU Sports Nation. I was driving to my league golf yesterday and had it on, and they said it. So
Oh, really?
Full credit.
Who is the other one?
I believe I have it, if I recall correctly.
And it is?
Harvey Unga.
Ding, 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 and ding.
There it is.
Because Harvey had the honor code issue, had to leave school, and it was during the...
Teamwork makes the dream work, Yak. We went 2 for 2.
Yeah, it was after the draft had gone down, so he entered the supplemental
No, I
draft.
remember Harvey, but I have no knowledge of Steve.
Yeah, it was a USFL-driven thing.
I was gonna say,
I don't remember it
wasn't it like a
happening.
dis-
I mean, I know
did.
why, but
Yeah.
I don't remember it.
No, I don't remember it happening
It's probably
either.
more like a dispersal draft in so many different ways, too.
And those, everything was covered differently then. It may have just, don't remember
And
the
a
time.
transaction in the Agate page.
Yeah, right? Yes.
Which don't exist
Footnote. Oh, the Agate page was awesome. There was so much info in there. So many things happened.
now. And I love
Now
reading
it's-
transactions.
And now it's all on the ticker. You ever flip on a game, the game's mediocre, but you've been out doing whatever, or you off your phone
yeah,
golfing.
but the transactions seem to go much deeper.
They do. They do. But sometimes the ticker's really good if you've
It's
been doing
good for
something.
more headline stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But transactions would have cut down day. They'd list everybody.
Yep, and they'd have, and you could be looking it up, guys who went to whatever schools you were
I would
following.
always look for the Devils. Yeah.
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 One other Jazz thing we talked about this morning, Walker Kessler. Multiple reports now. Initially, Tim McMahon, Ben Anderson's confirmed the numbers are right, so don't say that those are numbers just out there in the media. Multiple people digging into this. Walker Kessler offered 5 years, $140 million from the Jazz. He reportedly wants more than $28 million a year.
Of course he does now.
It all makes sense that would be
and
the lower end of his market.
But it is a strategy. Yeah. Everybody knows he's a restricted free agent. Yep. They want this story out. Mm-hmm. Don't even call us unless you're going 30, 35.
Right.
So this is a PR case.
It is.
As they should be doing it that way. Set the market. Don't come out. I'm not going to fly out to fill in the blank city, Detroit, randomly, and you're going to offer me 24. Don't waste my time. Don't waste your time.
All true.
Right.
And don't you think the Jazz hit it right? That's
I always
the
thought
middle
that he
to
was
lower end of his
be
market
between
25 and 30?
Yes.
Yeah.
There would be some form of compromise.
If you drop down to 20, they're going to lose him. So you got to get up into the mid to high 20s.
But they can sit back.
They can.
And if he doesn't like it, I had to do this and that, well, get over yourself. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to bawl or are you going to pout?
Ben Anderson brought up the thought, will someone offer him 3 years and $100 million? So he hits the market sooner, can get back out. The salary cap will be going up because the TV money's going up. And
if I were him, that's what I would do, because you think you're that good. And you showed a little flash of being better last year. I think it was 3 to 5 games.
He played 5 games.
Yeah, but it did look like he was.
It looks like he was making progress.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, they got a better version of this guy, and then boom, he's out.
Right.
Which, given the fact they were tanking, gets him 100% healthy. He was trying to play through something.
Worked.
It made sense. It all lined up.
So go take that $100 million. That's life-changing money, even with half going to the U.S. government or local government or wherever government
All
they're
of
going
the above.
to.
Yeah.
And you still, man, if you can't live on $50 million.
I think Joe Ingles talked about that. I believe he said at one point, nobody needs that much money.
Yeah.
He's like, how expensive? Joe was a big coffee guy. How expensive is that coffee in the morning? I mean, how many cups do you need? What do you need with all that money?
So with that in mind, then even if you didn't play, if you just had a knock on wood against a career-ending injury or whatever, you just retired, you'd still only be, 28 tops, and you have an opportunity to get another contract that would be double plus that. I mean, my goodness, yeah, he's in a great situation.
DJ PK, your feedback coming up next. Is BYU still, well, not still, are they now with Texas Tech having their issues at quarterback? Are the Cougs the favorite in the Big 12? Stay with us.
Overwhelmed? That was me with diabetes. Hey, I'm Jabron. Between teaching and coaching, managing diabetes felt like an extra job. With the Freestyle Libre 3 CGM, I get real-time glucose readings and have the insights to make informed decisions. My life feels lighter now. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
The views expressed should not be used for medical diagnosis or treatment as a substitute for professional medical advice. Individual circumstances may vary. For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
The grill is shot. The chairs are held together by Optimism. And what happened to the rug? Sounds like your outdoor setup is not ready for patio season. Fix it all with Wayfair. Shop Wayfair for grills, rugs, furniture, and more. With 20 million 5-star reviews, room of choice delivery, and expert setup on qualifying orders, it's never been easier to do more for less. Get 10% off your first eligible purchase. Hurry to wayfair.com or download the app now.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. It's time for your feedback. What do you have to say about today's show? And we're still getting a lot of yesterday's show. A lot of you are reacting to Mark Harlan. And we've got stuff coming in, and then there are clips getting put out on social media. You can go listen to the entire conversation wherever you get your podcasts, talking about that private equity deal. And it's just all over the map. It's going to be really interesting to see how this works out. There are people who want none of it. North of the wall. There's a reason Utah is the only school doing this. Harlan's a joke, and he's made countless mistakes. He's got no hope. To him, there's just no chance. Cheese Fries, who's a big Ute fan, just admit you're jealous. Big things are happening at Utah. Keep your eye on Utah X next week or two, you little man.
Oh, he's got inside info, huh?
So something's coming. Sidelines, Texas State. How did this make it to the newest Pac-12 school? Well, it did. That AD isn't paying attention at the very least. PE is anti-college athletics. Way to help kill college athletics. Well, will the people stay away from it, not kill college athletics?
Why would they? Why would
that
this company want to kill its own investments?
It wants to make money over the next 5 years, whatever that means. Well, the negative, I think what people are holding on to is this company wants to make a lot of money over the next 5 years, whether it helps grow that athletic department or not.
But don't they go hand in hand?
They can go hand in hand, but you can just take the money and run and leave behind something that's a shell of its former self and unable to compete.
Seems improbable, but we'll see.
Then Lane, there's a lot of stuff in here that's pretty fiery, and I've read you some of them. But Lane says criticizing and mocking are not the same thing here. So nothing serious at Lane Abbott. Kind of takes the attitude of be critical, and be critical of different parts of it. But the mocking it, don't take it all as being mocked.
Well, that's because he has his name attached to it, so he has to be reasonable.
See, as soon as you see a name, the odds of reasonableness go way up.
Yeah, obviously. That's why I think most fans are. I think they are reasonable.
Gill Investments. For middle of the pack and below, there's no other option in this current system. So he buys Give Investments buys what Mark Harlan said, that doing nothing was not an option. You could see that trending in the wrong direction, and you have to try something new.
Well, if you want to win at the highest level, now that may be a fairy tale. Everybody wants to win at the highest level, but do you have the financial wherewithal? And with Utah, if they get a ton of money, I suppose you could look at, well, Texas Tech is not Malibu, and Utah, Salt Lake City and so forth is neither. But if Texas Tech can do it, the thing that I would argue is that Lubbock is still in Texas, and it's still surrounded by just enormous amounts of talent, or at least close enough, maybe not surrounded. So if Utah could play at the highest level, that would be great. I think they could be right below, and that's what they've been, which is it's not a slight, it's an outstanding program worthy of envy.
Ryan says, I'm no Harlan fan, but leave it to KSL, BYU, and their cronies to try to make the U of U look bad by doing what is necessary to stay at the forefront of the mess that is college football. To which Trent Brown Coog says, state auditors and finance experts all agree this is a bad deal. It has nothing to do with KSL.
Well, I mean, I grew up a BYU fan. There's no question.
There actually is a question.
And all my allegiance is to there.
I don't believe that.
Ignore all the other stuff, though.
And I have no friends that are affiliated with the University of Utah. Zero.
Yeah, that's not true either.
In their athletic department.
That's not true either.
But that's what people think.
I know.
And yet I got a friend.
In both athletic departments.
Whose brother is a hardcore Cougar and goes on the line. And I think I may have told you this. And this guy, he goes on the internet message board deals, and this guy has always given me the cold shoulder.
Yuck, you ever get a job and have someone tell you you're the enemy now?
Oh, yeah.
You want to say where that person worked?
Yeah, but at least he said it.
He did. Put his face and his name on it.
This guy,
Made no doubt about it.
He won't even acknowledge me.
That's weird.
We were gonna. He wanted the other friend. Wanted us. My friend is the younger brother of this other guy, and we were all in Hawaii, and they were there for other reasons. My wife and I were there. The friend wanted the six of us to go to dinner, and I left, and we were going to hook up later. And I told my wife, this isn't going to happen. There's no way he's going with me.
That's so funny.
And
the truth is, the absolute truth, not playing radio, you have so many relationships with so many people at both schools that when you tell me something's going to happen at one school, I don't automatically know who your source is. And I probably don't know the name of everybody you get info from at both schools, but I do know the names of a lot of people you get info from at both schools.
I have a trusting face. This guy sat across from me once when we were at he went to pick his brother up from golf, and so we had lunch. I have no respect for Kyle Whittingham because he won't even say the letters BYU. He is just a bad blah, 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 blah. And I'm looking at him, keep your mouth shut, keep your mouth shut, keep your mouth shut. And I did. If I told him some of the humanitarian stories that Kyle did on his own without asking.
Yeah. Well, don't let the facts get in the way of a good grudge.
Oh, brother.
We could talk about Mark Harlan and that deal. I mean, I think there's significant risk to it, but I do see a couple places where there could be big upside.
Well, let's see,
man. They could hit. They could, and I get people's reluctance. I get why the auditor wrote what they wrote. I get it. And I told you I had worked for a TV station that was owned by P&E firm, and that was a wild ride. But I think there's upside with Huntsman. I got to dig into the Huntsman Center, how much money could be riding on that. But $20-25 million bucks of new revenue to them would not shock me. Maybe that number is wild. I'd have to dig into it a little more. But I think there is some upside out there. All right, DJ and PK, we're all done. Coming up next, Scotty G and the coach. Stay with us.
Overwhelmed? That was me with diabetes. Hey, I'm Jabron. Between teaching and coaching, managing diabetes felt like an extra job. With the Freestyle Libre 3 CGM, I get real-time glucose readings and have the insights to make informed decisions. My life feels lighter now. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
The views expressed should not be used for medical diagnosis or treatment as a substitute for professional medical advice. Individual circumstances may vary. For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.